Well, hello all. I'm just going to carry on with the Copper Monkey series. Just going to dive straight into it. Normally I'll have a look at the news, but a little bit pressed for time this morning. I need to sort the banisters out and varnish it and sand it all down. It's been a pain for ages. Tried to use some some paint remover from it, and as I've put it on, it's bubbled in some places and just literally welded onto the wood to some point where I thought just start it and pay someone to come and redo the entire banister. But I'll give it a go. I've got a special heater that hopefully will get the remaining paint off, so I can then paint it, well, sand it and then paint it. So let's see. Right, let's dive over Copper Monkey payment system. Watch the other videos if you're not sure what I'm doing. Allow CLI to read an item from the database, allow CLI to delete. So your basic CRUD operations. So what I've got is I've got a root command. Well, if I go to the main, I've got a root command here, which comes into here. We initialize just a tester, but if we look at this, we're adding a command, add a new item to the database. So what I can do is I can do Copper Monkey add client payment request, and let me zoom in, add payment request, and that allows me to add a payment into the database from the CLI. So if I jump to definition, there's nothing clever here. This is just, you could get this off ChatGPT, but let's have fun, eh? It's the weekend. What better to do on your weekend than write some random code? So this new sub add client payment request takes in these parameters and then puts a new payment request in and returns the output. So I do have this somewhere. Make file, maybe, yeah. So if I go here, yank that. Don't have a command. Let's go to a command. The shell. Shell. GPL Copper Monkey, clear that. Zoom in a little bit. Oh Jesus, what's going on? Font doesn't do very well when it's resized. Paste that in, take that out. So we run that. We should go to the database and insert a record. This is the first time, so it might be a bit wobbly. So the table doesn't exist. Creating it and then made. And I can't remember what the name of the table is off the top of my head. Repost table is payment gateway. Okay. PHP. Let's yank that. Let's go to. I think I are. No, did I have it already? I think I did. What I'm looking to do is then. Let's not run history whilst I'm in this mode. How do I get it out of the database? Well, if I had a command for getting it out of the database, life would be better. So, if I had a command now that allowed me to just run the command line and say, go get this item, I'd be all right. But I don't. Also, when I run this, client pending payment request made, new item, but I don't get my ID back. The ID was nil, so I need to look into that. I don't know why I didn't get that back. Should have populated and come back. So I'm not done with the insert, so there's always more work to be done. You're trying to race on to the next thing. So what am I trying to do now? Repost, readme, get the item, let's add this to my cache, get item, yeah. paste that in. The table is going to be, there we go, got my item, and unless I've cocked something up, yeah, I've got a request ID. No customer ID. Need to work on that. Why did I not have a customer ID? Have I not got that in my command? No, don't have that in this payment. Let's yank that. Let's go to commands, because this was a point of this commands file. So that this is this. And I should be able to put in the request ID, right? Oh no, the request ID, I think yeah, it's the client. Should be able to put in the client ID. Let's say Bob. I'm being silly now. Uh, what I add? Showcase installed. Maybe, oh yeah, maybe I've removed it. It's useful. Okay, P. Yeah, there's nothing on the leader P. It's just doing a. So if I yank that, in fact, before I do that, I'm being an idiot. Let me just check. It's customer ID, so it's simple to check just before I start doing anything. Customer ID. Unknown flag customer ID. Okay, so command root customer ID. For some reason, have I got that as lowercase c? So that's a little bit of a smell, because everything else is title case apart from that. So I think I'll fix that. Customer ID. Got to go. New payment request, and we've got Bob. but we're not getting back the request ID, which we now need to do in order to do a command line for getting the request. At the moment, what I need to do is do something daft like this, run it via the AWS command, get Bob wherever he may be, here, customer ID Bob, and this would have been a request ID of this. Then I'd need to take that and put that in. Or I could do one which is get customers, but remember customers could have multiple payment requests because the customer might owe multiple subscriptions. Okay. So fix that. Interestingly, I bet no unit tests break. So if I go here, I don't know if I can do this. Test. I don't know if this will work. Main tests. So it ran them tests, nothing broke. Realistically, you know, I made a change there, and the change was quite stark, really. I'm changing the signature of how you use something. So something somewhere should have broken, right? It's a sign that just I haven't got any good code coverage tests yet. But we're just playing, right? Just playing, it's fine. So that's done. We've got that. What I wanted to do then was return the payment. Now that's coming back. And we print message. The message is this. That's the message. So add payment request, jump to definition. What are we returning? We're returning a string and an error. New payment request made. So what else? Because I'm sure when I run it, I've got new client pending payment request made. So that's new. That's there. So there's another print somewhere. And it must be above. Maybe I'm missing it. There we go. So print data. So that's the input, but we want the response. And I think I covered this a couple of times, is that returning the message, not great, because you're wrapping what would be a user interface response in the repository, and that's really the wrong place to do it. So that needs updating. Repass. Change, return object. If I just simply return the new object from the database or from the update, then I can just return that back to the caller, and then they're capable of just doing whatever they want with it, instead of within the repository turning a string. So I don't know why I'm jumping around like an idiot like this. I need to improve on my Vim navigation. So return that. I don't want that. I want to really there's an insert, there's a get, there should be a check, there should be a get payment by request ID. So maybe it would be good to call the get payment by request ID to return that. Now, your DBAs and database administrators will be screaming at me for that, because we do an insert followed by a select statement followed by getting the data, and that might not change. However, sometimes in some systems the database might trigger things which will mutate the data in the database at the database level, which means your object is now out of sync from what is in the database. So there's a problem. So a lot of ORMs will insert data into the database, then read the data from the database and then return it, which is a real problem. And in some cases, when you update, they will select from the database, then compare it against the object that you've got, then insert into the database, then select from the database. So you've got like this three-way bloody handshake every time we want to insert or update the surname or something. It's from a DBA's point of view, it's quite annoying. Don't know what's going on with my dogs, but they are going mental. Wife must be moving. She moved. She's right. So insert pending payment. Let's move on. Right. Let's delete that. Let's return. Just for now, let's return payment request, followed by a nil, because there's no errors. I did type nil, but absolutely nothing happened. Then cannot use payment request, variable of type client payment request as a string. Well, that's obvious because that's your return type. But what I love about that is I now know that it is a client payment request. Right. Cannot use that as that. I don't know what the hell that was even doing. Nil. I love this. Nil types, because we can't return a client payment request value in the return statement because it can't be a nil. Right, so we should really return a default client payment request, but we should just be able to return an empty object, I think. No? I don't like that. I don't like at all using the constructor like that to create a new object, which is going to be nothing. However, for now I'll just put a to-do on for us to fix that. Okay, so things should break now, I would have thought, because there's this that's getting, which she thinks is a message. There's a unit test. Oh, so my unit test might break. And then there's just the repos itself. That's fine. So if we go here, what we should be able to do is just replace actually the client payment request. Just override that object. It's not updating, it's going to create a new one, pointer reference and all that nonsense. So what we should be able to do now is just for giggles, we should be able to output this. And if I just make and then run this command again, built, good start, run that, and we've got Bob. And I think what we've got is we've got the request. Awesome. Now, if I do go test, run the repository test, probably fails. Yeah, which is a good thing, right? We changed a lot, so we should really see our tests fail. And remember that whenever you've changed something in real life, whenever you've changed the way that something should work, a unit test should fail. And you shouldn't just go and blindly fix that unit test. You know, oh, I'd updated this unit test failed. Isn't my code so brittle? You really shouldn't do that. What you should do is pay close attention to why the unit test failed. Here, I've changed the signature. When I was inserting something, I just used to get a string back, a message, where now I'm getting an object back. Well, why? Why are we changing the signature of what something happened? In this scenario, I don't want the repository to be responsible for UI strings. What I'm going to display to the end user, I don't want to be at the repository level. I want that to be much closer to the initial call, you know, API level, or in this case CMD level. I want to be able to return back, you know, your request was created successfully, your request ID is this, and that's the kind of message I want back to the user. But I might want to change that in the future. You know, I might want to change that to say your payment request for Bob has been successfully queued. Your queue ID is, and then the request ID. And in the business, we might refer to that as a queue ID or a payment request queue ID, whatever. The business comes up with crazy terms, and you will say, "Oh, that CQID is this," and your business knows what that means because they've got their own language. So when something changes like that, you've got to go to the team. You might have to go to your product owner, and you might just say, "Right, I've changed this. This is what it used to be. This is what it is now." And is that acceptable? Is that what we want? The unit tests say that that's not true. The unit test said we used to agree on this. And go back, look at the Git history, look at the Jira or you know your GitHub issues, and work out why did it used to be a string originally. Don't just make the blind assumption, oh, it used to be a string because that's the way that we wanted it. You never know whether there's a third-party API hitting that and expecting that that's outside of the code base that you can see, outside of your unit test. And by changing it, you're going to make a breaking change to another microservice that expected that to be that. So changing signatures and changing the interface, the input and output, is a serious thing. Everything else in code should be just business logic that can be refactored, cleaned, and tested. But the input and outputs, they're your bread and butter, right? So what I'm loving about this is that my test did fail. Which one was it? So it was repo test. It's probably the only test I've got. I just do a search for test. Yeah. Which test is it? Out of my billions of unit tests. You only got one. Dickhead. Right. Test update. What have we got? We got failure to communicate as usual. Invalid operation payment requests. Line 53. 53. Let's jump to 53, shall we, and see what we've won. Ooh, I love that. Invalid operation payments inserted. Message mismatch. Type untyped. Types untyped string. I mean, I know what it means, but I've never really bothered to read it. Mismatched types. Yeah, the types are not the correct. Types untyped string. What the hell does that mean? I mean, I get it, you know, the type's not right, but can I refactor this? Go break code sheet. CDLM rename. Oh, box on. Ah, bollocks. Go rename. Message to payment request. And payment request. Did that work? No, it didn't. Don't know what I did last time. I'm going to watch this video back actually and see what I did wrong. If I it right, invalid operation, yeah, because I need request ID. And what I was doing before, right, I was actually then going and getting the payment request, which is a little bit more end-to-end testing. And I was checking the IDs, the GUIs and blah, blah, blah. So that's fine. Where is that used? Yeah, I think that's fine. I'm just double checking I've not replaced or renamed anything by accident. It's a bit of a crappy way. I should really do that and see where it is. But I just do SS and then put XXX on it. It's really crap way of just checking where the variable's used. Yeah, but hey, what works for you works for you, right? So let's write all this buffer. Make sure we've got it saved. Let's go and build. Technically, I don't think I need to build to run the unit test, but you just get used to it. Passed. Awesome. So now my test signature is working, payment inserted, and we can see our no request ID. That is cool. So now, how are we in? 27 minutes, so not too bad. Have we got anyone chatting? Because I always forget. So Doc, chat. So now I'm a lonely loner. So no one in the chat yet, although my chat didn't appear. So there we go. I know we're off screen, but I'm just checking my chat. Really need 2 monitors so I can see and code. Also, look at you as well, get myself a better camera so I can focus on you, my people. There goes my people. I must follow them, for I am their leader. I think I butchered that. Da, da, da. What did we do? So the payment request is currently codename green, like metal animal color as a project name. Instead of spending 4 days trying to work out what a project name is, just create aliases for them. You know, Redmond did it. If anyone remembers Redmond. So let's push that. Permission denied. Of course, you have agent. Search agent start. Should do that really when my system boots. But sometimes I want to change my keys. Okay, that's pushed. Right, so what next, my little friends? Oh, my little friends, what should we do next? I think we'll do what we actually set out to do in the first place, which was to create a new command. So I've got the add subcommand, jump to that definition. We've got add subcommand, add client payment request. So we've got the data imports, the data and the command, and then just nonsense there. That's probably, I mean, I'm hoping that's never used. Yeah, that's never used. And of course, you know, hello world's just as we were getting started, that's not used. But what I want to do, this is in main, right? So I want to copy this and paste it in. It should be in packages. I expected to jump to packages. I am in packages. Anyway, brain fat. So let's copy that. Let's paste it in and let's call this new client payment request, add client command, new add client payment request, get. I'm thinking about just calling it get, but it doesn't really matter, right? Get payment request. Don't really like it, but it makes sense. So command data. We want to get it. So oh wow, that didn't replace. Not what I'm expecting. The end delete insert string request ID. Keep hitting F1. Command add get. Typical. Spend 5 minutes doing regular expression to find and replace, and there's only bloody one of them anyway. So get that using the request ID. We can change this in a sec. Then flags really, you know, don't really need a great deal. Request ID, delete word, come on, delete word, thank you. Request ID. I'm going to use this title case expression. the request ID. Just off the top of my head, I was just thinking then it would be nice to have like a dictionary when we use things like request ID, we're able to change it in the future because businesses are going to use their own terminology for what that means. So I think that'd be nice. Local or business directory. In the business, they might refer to it as like CPR, CPR ID, or whatever. I don't know why I'm putting so much effort into that because it doesn't matter. They could refer to it as platinum. But basically, I want to be able to have a dictionary that allows us to replace things where we've worded stringly in outputs, inputs, request ID, and be able to change it to something else so that the business can actually use their own terminology. Redeclared of hello world, yeah, we can get rid of these because we don't want them. Don't know why. Found package, and main in development. Yep, I'm in green, that's fine. I don't know why you are complaining. Okay. So new sub command, get client payment request, get client payment request, get client payment, alias, yeah. In fact, this is a good example. Whoa, I must have pressed U. Late. This is a good example where I'm using aliases to get the client payment request. So, oh, look at that. Is get client payment request. So in the CLI, I should be able to use these really nice shortcuts instead of typing all that gubbins. I should be able to do that. Not tested that yet. So adding client payment request. Getting a client payment request. Print data. And that's wrong. How's data even resolving? What have I done? I know I had an object called data, which I was referring to. I don't know why we're doing this. We keep referring to this action type. I'm stuck. Actually, at the moment, my mindset is trying to think about event-driven architecture. And I'm not there yet. I'm not doing that. But my mind is still stuck in that architectural pattern. So I'm making these little design mistakes that really are just not needed because I'm jumping the gun. So what I want to do is get payment request by ID and request ID, and request ID comes in there. We need to get the argument out first. So request ID. Oof. Thanks, IntelliSense. Request ID equals get the flag for request ID. make sure it's a string, do it in. And then, oh, mismatch. One variable, but returns two. Yeah, because request ID now is the object. And we also have an arrow. We don't need that now. We're getting payment request. And panic's a bit much. Then we can print the payment request. And I want a nicer printer. I've seen other projects where they've got a really nice system for formatting and validating all output statements so that they're all consistent. I really like that. It does mean that your code is a little bit more convoluted, and developers who come on board need to learn you don't just do write string, you don't just do print line. You've got to use our printer. But once they get used to it, it's fine. And loads of other projects do the same thing. This is a bit naff, to be honest with you. So we're getting the request ID. I don't think that needs to be pointer reference. It's not an object anymore. It was a pointer before because it was an object that contained multiple values. I wanted to use pointer reference on it. But that is just an input, it's a string, request ID. Get that. Okay. So if we get this, oh, cannot use request ID. Why? Really? What would be the point? What would be the point, Cobra? Why would you use an address reference to the request ID? Like you're using this command flag to get the request ID here. No, that's definitely one for later. That. Oof, what happened to this? Oh, yeah, definitely one for later. Let's have a look now. So that's running. Let's just give it a quick build. Oh, spec or build. Yeah, well, I've not. It doesn't link to the make file. So other things to think about. Import cycle not allowed. Command line arguments. Find packages green. Get payment request in main. And main go. So green. Pisses me off this. So here's green. I think I've just put it in the wrong folder, to be honest with you. Hell, where did you come from? I was wondering why it started complaining, because main and green are completely separate, but for some reason I've copied main in. Let's get rid of that. I bet that's going to be a problem. Let that and go back to here, payment request. Everything seems better now. I must have copied the main by accident. Okay, let's see if I can do a build now. Okay, so that run. Let's see if I can do an insert. Yeah, that's running. And let's make sure I can run my tests. Probably roll go test maybe a billion times. And every time, honestly, winds me up. Spent the last like year and a half trying to improve my typing speed. And I've gone from like 12 characters, 12 words per minute to now 65 words per minute. So massive improvement, but still pissed off. You look at someone like Primages like this, what we're going to do today is, it's like, what the hell? That's not how real human beings operate. What's going on? New command, get client payment. So we've done that. What I want to do now is go to main, go into here, then we should be able to add this, right? What we should be able to do is register the new insert. So new add payment request. So let's register that. What the hell? We're going on again. Oh. New get, where is it? Command get payment request. There we go. And thank you for that. You know what? Sometimes I'm better off just typing it myself. You know, just let me type it myself. Restart LSP. Moaning about nothing. Make a build. In. Up the monkey. Run. Help. So we now have a help command for generate completion. I didn't. Oh god, Cobra's awesome. Completion. PowerShell. Nice. Sorry, going off track. I didn't realise that Cobra generated autocompletes for you. So when you type in, you press something tab, something tab, something tab. Something needs to be doing that, right? Something somewhere needs to be like, oh, it looks like you're trying to do this. So if you're ever doing anything with Kubernetes, typing it all out is an absolute pain. Use K9s or something, but get used to the get used to the CLI. When you're doing kube control get pod from this namespace with this label, it all gets a little bit tedious. So the ability to just tab is awesome. So I'm glad and I'm happy that that's built in. So yeah, thank you for watching, Tam. I hope you're loving the show. So I'm just doing some live coding, building a payment gateway. So I got sidetracked. I've got help. I have the ability to add a payment request, and I have the ability to get a payment request. I've not loaded in the completion. So when I press tab, cock all happens. But if I'd have loaded in the completion, it would show me how to do it. So get client, payment request. So get payment request, came back. There was a default payment request. There was no error, but nothing came back because there wasn't anything for the request ID. So request ID, Bob. So nothing. If I now go into here and grab a payment request, this might work. We're very, very new at the moment with this command. So if this works, it'll be a minor miracle. Oh! It's like Andy Griffin. You look same for my manager, looks in the USA. He must be an absolutely handsome chappie. Honestly, beautiful, like a Brad Pitt type thing. Love it. So what we've done now is we have got the new payment request. We can get a client payment request. So we have got the pièce de résistance. We have got the ability to add a new payment request here. So let's say £20.99. Let's say Adam Jones. Let's do that. We can insert. We can now get. Why are you saying Bob? Oh, the Adam Jones must be another Bob somewhere in the input. Customer ID. Yeah. So what we can do now is we can go and get our value. Too far. And now we have got the record for Adam. So this is really cool. We are now see how we're building and building and building on top of it, everything. Now we've got this ability to insert and output. Import not allowed. Stack trace. You're just talking nonsense, LSP. Go away. That's it. Shoo. Shoo. That's fine. So we've got the ability to add. I need to fix that. It's annoying me. Anyway, there'll be some circle with the packages that I need to fix. I'll have copied something else in by mistake like I did before. But now we've got the ability to do new and get. This isn't fully tested. So I'll jump to definition. Come on. Hello. LSP is dead. Wow. Restart. Jump to definition. Oh, really? Oh, we're alive now. It's come back. Oh, so just a little glitch. So here, get payments, request. Look at payment. I've no unit test for this, so I need to create a unit test. I've got a unit test, of course, for the get payment request by ID. So if I jump to references, we can see we've got a unit test for that. However, I don't have any unit tests for the Cobra commands themselves directly. I've just got tests for the targets. So what I'm doing is I'm just generating the request and then calling the repository directly, which is enough for now. I don't want to wrap my test too tightly around implementations that I know may change. One of the arguments, isn't it, about test-driven development? You know, I know the Primogen talks about this a lot. You know, the Primogen's doing much better than I can. What I'm doing here, where I don't quite know where things are going to go. I don't quite know what it is I'm going to build. So how the hell could I write a unit test to test something that I don't even know how I'm going to implement or how I'm going to do it? What I'd have to do is fully know in advance the way I want to do it and test it. However, there's another side to that story, is that if you know the input and output, given I put a request ID in, then I get this back, then you should be able to write a test first and then fill in the blanks. So that's true. But there are certain things like validation. I don't know how I'm going to validate these commands yet. I don't know what the response is that I'm going to come back. I don't know if I'm going to create a plugin that wraps over a validation so that we've got a common theme, common wording, common system. So that's why why my image is not showing on the web page. I don't know. Why is your image not showing on a website? Have you used an image tag or something like that? I don't know. I'm not psychic. But you know, happy here to help where I can. But you know, when you ask a question, make sure you've done research on it. Make sure you've got information about it. Make sure you've put effort into coming up with alternatives and why them alternatives didn't work. Then you can ask a really good, well-founded, well-executed, well-researched question that allows the questioner to answer. You know, why is my int not set to a parameter? No. Don't ask questions like that at work. You'll just annoy people. Right, so we are good. We are good. What we've got now is the ability to insert and get. The next one that I need to implement is the delete. So so testing, creating, reading, updating, return the objects created instead, insert, done. Read an item using the CLI, done. Delete an item, deleting word, insert, delete. An item using the CLI, not done yet. So what I want to do is on the CLI, I want to be able to delete an item. But a pattern for this, when you're deleting, is sometimes you can delete it, you can just delete the item from the database completely. Problem with that is that there's no evidence that that ever happened. When you delete an item from a database, it's gone. Unless they've got change tracking, CDC enabled, most of the time you read and write from a database and the evidence of that is realistically gone. Now, you're going to say, well, get rid of the CDC, there's change tracking, there's audit logs, there's, you know, even SQL Server has audit logs at every insert, update, delete statement and every mutation. And yeah, that's absolutely true. You try and search that. You try and use that. Compliance comes to you and says, oh, why was this record changed to this? It's like, come back in maybe 6 months whilst I've looked through 4 terabytes of you know, SQL Server logs. You know, another one is logically deleting, which you just set a flag to deleted. Is deleted true? Or you might have a request, which I think we've got in this scenario. If I look at models, I have got a status. So at the moment I've got pending, cancelled and processed. So what I'm going to do is I am actually going to create a cancelled instead of a deleted, because deleted gives the end user the thought of it's deleted, it's gone. So they could just keep on typing, you know, create. Also, if something's in the middle of being processing, and we try and delete it, or in this case pending, we try to delete it, we could delete it whilst it's in operation. So cancelled is a real tricky bugger, because you don't know if another service somewhere is already processing, and in the middle of processing the thing that you are now trying to cancel. And that raise condition is really difficult. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually change that. Instead of delete an item, what we're going to do is we're going to say cancel, so that we can say we're going to cancel the item. The 2 L's in cancel? Don't know. Cancel, I need to look that up. Cancelled, no. Cancel an item using the CLI. Yep, cancel my brain because it's not working. Allow the CLI to delete an item. No. To cancel an item from the database. So a trick for concurrency is to get an item, check that it's not in a particular status like processing, and then you can delete it. But it's tricky because if it starts processing at the exact same trillisecond, got to be something called trillisecond, right? Then you're going to have a concurrency problem. So that's interesting. When we start processing billions of payments a minute with this, we might run into issues with that. So I just put that in there for me to look at. Right, awesome sauce. We're done for the day. I think I only wanted to do about an hour, right? And we're hitting 1 hour, 1 minute. So in this video, we improved the data that came back from the insert. We got the ability to get an item from the CLI. In the next video, I think I keep saying this, but in the next video, I am going to look at the validation. I don't know how to do it yet. I'm going to have a look at a couple of projects like I normally do and see how they're validating, see how they're updating it. But in the meantime, thank you for watching. And as always, I am the Gizzard.